The Earth Space Defense Center sat deep beneath the mountains of Colorado. Commander James O'Brien stood before the main monitor and watched the data flowing across the screens. His hands were steady, but his mind was racing. The numbers made no sense. The objects moving toward Earth were too many, too large, and too organized to be anything but a military fleet. James was 53 years old. He had served in the military for over 30 years. He had trained for many scenarios, but he had never truly believed he would face this moment. No one had. The world had learned long ago that space travel was possible. But contact with alien life was still a theory. Something for scientists to debate in universities. Not something that happened in the real world. Until now. The sensors showed 200 ships moving through space toward the solar system. The lead vessel was massive, easily the size of a small mountain. Behind it came wave after wave of military ships, support vessels, and weapons platforms. The computers had been running analysis for hours. The data was clear. This was not a peaceful mission. James turned to Sarah Rivera, his second in command. Sarah had been with him for 5 years. She was smart, quick, and she did not panic easily. Right now, she looked like she wanted to panic. "Are they responding to our broadcasts yet?" James asked. Sarah shook her head. "They detected our signal 15 minutes ago. They are calculating trajectory now. They will be in Earth orbit in less than 14 days. 14 days. James thought about that number. 14 days to prepare the planet for contact with an alien military force. 14 days to convince world leaders to take action. 14 days to warn 7 billion people that their world might change forever. The first message had come 3 hours earlier. A simple signal, but it carried enormous data. The ships belonged to the Varos Collective, an empire that controlled 43 star systems. They were advanced, organized, and they had one purpose now. Earth. James pressed a button on the console. "Get me the Prime Minister. Tell him it is urgent." Within minutes, Prime Minister David Foster appeared on the screen from his office in London. Foster was a man of 60 years, with gray hair and the look of someone who had never expected to face a crisis like this. Behind him, James could see the faces of military advisors and government officials. "Commander O'Brien," Foster said, "tell me this is not as bad as the reports suggest." James did not have the luxury of lying to the Prime Minister. "It is worse, sir. The fleet is confirmed as military. Their composition suggests an invasion force, not a diplomatic mission. They will be in Earth orbit in 13 days and 23 hours. The silence on the video feed lasted several seconds. Then Foster spoke again. "What are our options, Commander?" James took a breath. "We can attempt negotiation, sir. We can broadcast a warning. We can prepare defensive positions. But we need to understand something. Our conventional military has no capability to stop an interstellar force. If they decide to attack, we cannot match their technology." Foster leaned forward. "Then what do you recommend?" James thought carefully before answering. "We broadcast a warning message. We tell them that Earth will not accept occupation or invasion. We make our position clear. It may not stop them, but it will show we are not a world that surrenders without speaking." Foster nodded slowly. "Do it, Commander. Broadcast the warning." James ended the transmission and turned to Sarah. "Start the message. Multiple frequencies. All known alien languages. Make it clear. This is the last warning." Sarah moved quickly, typing commands into the system. The message had been prepared weeks ago, just in case. It was simple. "This is Earth. You are entering space controlled by the human civilization. You are not welcome here. Turn back, or you will face consequences." The transmission began. Radio waves carried the message out into the black void, racing toward the approaching fleet. Sarah's team monitored the signal to confirm it was broadcasting correctly. Every few seconds, the message repeated. Simple. Direct. Final. James waited. He knew it was futile. A civilization advanced enough to travel between stars would likely laugh at Earth's warning. But he also knew that protocol required them to try. Some small part of him held hope that the warning would be taken seriously. The response came faster than expected. The Varus fleet was powerful, and their communications technology was beyond Earth's understanding. The message appeared on the screen with only a few hours of delay. It was a single word. Acknowledged. That was all. No further explanation. No response to the warning. Just one word that meant they had heard Earth's message and dismissed it. Sarah looked at James. They are not slowing down, Commander. They are maintaining course. They are maintaining speed. James stared at the screens. He could see the Varus fleet moving through space like a predator moving toward prey. The warning had been sent. The response had been received. And it meant nothing. James pulled up the communication system again. Sarah, arrange a meeting with the United Nations Security Council. Tell them we need to make an announcement to the world. If the Varus fleet is coming, the people of Earth need to know. They need time to prepare themselves. Sarah nodded and left to make the arrangements. James stood alone before the main monitor. He watched the ships approaching. Each dot on the screen represented a vessel full of alien soldiers, weapons, and technology that humans could barely understand. 200 ships. An unstoppable force moving toward a planet that had no defense. He thought about his family. His wife was in California. His daughter was in university in New York. They would soon know what the rest of the world would learn, that Earth was not alone. And the visitors were not coming in peace. A message alert appeared on his personal screen. It was encrypted. The sender was anonymous. James opened it carefully. The message was short. Don't worry, Commander. The warning was never really for them. James read the message 3 times. He did not understand it. He did not recognize the sender. Before he could investigate further, the message deleted itself from his system, leaving no trace. James stared at the empty screen. Someone knew something. Someone knew something that he did not. And someone was watching Earth's preparations. He turned back to watch the approaching Varus fleet. 14 days remained. Whatever was going to happen, it would happen soon. The main bridge of the Varus flagship was silent as Lord Kethax reviewed the Earth transmission. His species was tall, nearly 8 feet in height, with dark skin that shimmered like oil on water. His eyes were large and intelligent. He had conquered 43 worlds and had never lost a single military engagement. The message from Earth was almost amusing. A warning from a world that did not even have significant space presence. Kethax played the message again. The crude digital voice spoke in multiple languages. It was pathetic. Kethax turned to Commander Vex, his second in command. What is the threat assessment for this world? Vex consulted the data on his screen. The planet called Earth is home to approximately 7 billion humans. They are bipedal, oxygen-breathing creatures. They have basic nuclear weapons and limited space technology. Their most advanced satellite network only extends to about 40,000 kilometers from their planet. They have never traveled beyond their single moon. There is no military presence in space. No defense satellites. No space stations capable of weapons deployment. They are essentially defenseless. Kethax nodded. This was what he expected. Earth was a backwards world, isolated in a corner of the galaxy. The fact that they had even developed radio communications was noteworthy. The fact that they thought they could threaten the Varus Collective was laughable. How long until we reach Earth orbit? Kethax asked. 12 days, 8 hours. Vex replied. At current speed, we will enter the system and establish orbital positions without resistance. Kethax made a decision. He composed a response message and had it sent back to Earth. He spoke the words himself, allowing his voice to be transmitted directly. He wanted the humans to hear the dismissal from their leader. "This is Lord Kethax of the Varos Collective. I acknowledge your warning. I find it amusing that your primitive world believes it can threaten an empire that controls the stars. You have one option. Surrender completely to the Varos Authority. Submit all strategic resources and technological data. Accept our rule, and you will be allowed to continue existing under our protection. Refuse, and you will be destroyed. You have 7 days to decide. After that time, resistance is meaningless." The message was transmitted across the void toward Earth. Kethax did not wait for a response. He had other things to oversee. The invasion was going to be swift and efficient. Earth would be his newest conquest, added to the growing list of worlds under Varos control. On Earth, the response from Kethax shook the governments of the world. For the first time, the reality of the situation became clear. This was not a misunderstanding. This was not a peaceful exploration. This was an invasion. Prime Minister Foster called an emergency session of the United Nations. World leaders spoke through video feeds from their capitals. Some demanded military action. Others suggested surrender. A few hoped for negotiation. The chaos of human politics met the clarity of an alien ultimatum. Commander James O'Brien was instructed to prepare defensive positions and to work with military forces around the world. It was a futile effort, but it had to be done. The commander worked through the night, coordinating with generals and admirals from every nation. Still, everyone knew the truth. Earth had no weapons capable of stopping an interstellar warship. 3 days after Kethax's message, Jennifer Hayes received a call from Commander O'Brien. She was a scientist, possibly the most brilliant physicist Earth had ever produced. She had been working in secret research for the government for 20 years. She lived in an isolated facility in the New Mexico desert, away from public view. "Dr. Hayes," James said over the secure line, "I need you to come to the Space Defense Center. It is urgent." Jennifer arrived 6 hours later. She was a woman of 45, with dark hair and sharp eyes. She walked through the corridors of the deep facility until she reached James's office. Sarah Rivara was there as well. "Dr. Hayes," James began, "the situation with the Varos is critical. We have a week before they demand our surrender. I need to know if there is anything we have not yet revealed that could change this situation." Jennifer was quiet for a long moment. She looked at Sarah, then back at James. She made a decision. "There is something, Commander. Something that has been kept secret for a very long time. Not even the President knows about it." James leaned forward. "Tell me." "In the 1950s, Jennifer explained, scientists made discoveries about energy manipulation that was decades ahead of its time. Those discoveries were hidden from the public and from most governments. Over the past 70 years, a secret program has been developing a planetary defense network. It is built into the planet itself. It uses quantum technology that is far beyond anything the Varos know about." Sarah interrupted. "If this exists, why was it not activated years ago? Why risk the planet?" "Because," Jennifer said quietly, "the network required absolute secrecy to work. If any alien civilization detected its existence, they would either destroy it or take measures against it. The only way to keep Earth safe was to let the galaxy believe we were defenseless. And we were defenseless until the threat became real." James absorbed this information. "Can you activate it?" "Yes," Jennifer said. "But I need authorization from the highest levels of government. And I need to warn you. Once the network is activated, there is no going back. The galaxy will know what we have hidden. Earth will no longer be seen as a backward world. We will be seen as a threat. James made a decision. Activate it, Dr. Hayes. Get me whatever authorization you need. We have 6 days before the ultimatum expires. If this works, we survive. If it does not, nothing else matters anyway. Jennifer nodded. I will need to go to the network stations. There are 3 main activation points. One is in the mountains of Tibet. One is in the depths of the Pacific Ocean. One is hidden in Antarctica. I will need a team and complete security clearance. Within hours, Jennifer was flying toward the first location in an unmarked military aircraft. Sarah stayed with James at the command center, monitoring the Varos fleet's progress. The ships were moving steadily toward Earth, maintaining their course. There would be no negotiation. There would be no mercy. The only chance Earth had was the secret that had been hidden for so long. James watched the countdown. 6 days until the Varos demanded surrender. 6 days until Jennifer could activate the network. 6 days until humanity learned whether it would fight or fall. Jennifer Hayes stood in a hidden facility beneath the Tibetan mountains. Around her, a team of scientists worked at ancient equipment that had been maintained in secret for decades. The technology was remarkable, a blend of physics that human textbooks did not teach and energy systems that seemed to defy normal understanding. The facility was built in the 1950s. In the depths of the Cold War, by scientists who feared nuclear annihilation. They had discovered something impossible. A way to tap into Earth's natural energy and redirect it through quantum pathways. Over 70 years, the network had been expanded, improved, and connected to 2 other sites on opposite sides of the planet. Jennifer's team began the activation sequence. Machines that had been dormant for decades hummed to life. Energy began to flow through cables and circuits. On the monitors, data appeared that confirmed the network was coming online. Jennifer watched carefully, monitoring every reading, every measurement. In the depths of the Pacific Ocean, another team of scientists activated their section of the network. In Antarctica, a third team did the same. Across the planet, hidden in mountains, beneath the Earth, and under the oceans, the global defense system was waking up. Back at the Space Defense Center in Colorado, Commander James O'Brien and Sarah Rivera watched as energy signatures began to appear across Earth's detection systems. The readings made no sense at first. Then Jennifer's transmission came through. The network is online, Commander, she reported. All 3 primary stations are activated. Secondary nodes are coming online across the planet. The system is now operational. The monitors at the command center filled with new data. A grid of energy surrounded the entire planet, invisible to the naked eye, but clearly visible to any advanced scanner. It was like a shield of pure power, networked and interconnected, ready to respond to any threat. Sarah looked at James. They will detect this immediately. As if on cue, the communication system crackled. A message came from the Varos fleet. It was Kethax himself, and his voice carried a note of confusion for the first time. Earth, we have detected massive energy signature emanations from your planet. Explain this development immediately, or we will interpret it as an act of war. James took a breath and composed a response. He decided to speak directly to Kethax, commander to commander. This is Commander James O'Brien of Earth. You were warned. You were told to turn back. You did not listen. The energy you detect is Earth's defense network. It is active, it is powerful, and it is ready. This is your final warning. Withdraw your fleet from this system, or you will face consequences. The message was sent. For several minutes, there was only silence. Then Kethax responded. You are bluffing. We have intelligence on every advanced civilization in this region of space. No such system existed in our databases. You must have acquired this technology recently. Where did you obtain it? James had no answer to give, so he gave no answer. Instead, he ordered the network to broadcast its presence across all frequencies. The energy signature became even more visible to Varro's scanners. It was a show of force, a demonstration that Earth was not the defenseless planet they had believed. Kethax studied the data on his bridge. His war council gathered around him, their faces showing concern for the first time. The humans claimed to have a defense system. The energy readings confirmed it. But Kethax did not believe they could actually use it effectively. He made a decision that would prove to be a mistake. Launch a single probe weapon, he ordered Commander Vex. A standard impact weapon. Enough to test their defenses. If they can stop it, we withdraw and reconsider. If they cannot, we proceed with the invasion. Let us see if their bluff is real. The weapon was launched from the Varro's warship closest to Earth. It was a probe weapon, designed to penetrate planetary defenses and strike at surface targets. It had been tested on multiple worlds. It was unstoppable by any conventional planetary defense system, except Earth did not have a conventional defense system. The probe weapon accelerated toward Earth, moving at a speed that would reach the planet's outer atmosphere in minutes. On the Varro's bridge, Kethax and his officers watched the progress. On Earth's command center, James and Sarah watched the same weapon approaching. The network is detecting the weapon, Sarah said. Defensive systems are activating. The weapon crossed into Earth's outer defense zone. Immediately, energy from the network erupted upward from the planet's surface. The energy was not a simple barrier. It was targeted, intelligent, and perfectly timed. It intercepted the weapon with surgical precision. The Varro's probe exploded in a flash of light and energy that was visible across the solar system. The weapon was destroyed completely, neutralized before it could ever reach the atmosphere. On the Varro's flagship, silence fell. The weapon that could not be stopped had been stopped. The probe that had been designed to test planetary defenses had been eliminated like nothing. Kethax stood up from his command chair. Confirmed that the weapon was destroyed. Confirmed, Vex said quietly. The human defensive network intercepted and destroyed it. No part of the weapon reached the planetary surface. The humans have legitimate defensive capability. For the first time in his military career, Lord Kethax felt fear. Not for himself, but for his fleet. The humans were not bluffing. They had a weapon system that could target and destroy his ships. It was impossible, but it was real. Jennifer sent another message from Earth. This is Dr. Jennifer Hayes of Earth. The network you just witnessed is defensive only. It was created to protect our world from invasion. We did not want to use it. We wanted to reach an agreement with the Varro's collective. But we will use it again if necessary. We will use it as many times as necessary. Turn back and no one else dies. Proceed, and your fleet will be destroyed. The message was transmitted across the void. On the Varro's bridge, every officer was looking at Kethax, waiting for his decision. The commander general, who had never lost a battle, was facing a choice he had never imagined. Behind him, the stars of his empire. Ahead of him, a world with weapons he did not understand. Kethax made no immediate decision. He ordered the fleet to halt. The Varro's Armada stopped its advance, holding position 5 billion kilometers from Earth. Something had changed in the equation. The humans had become dangerous. The clock was ticking. The next decision would determine the fate of the war that had not yet begun. Kethax stood alone in his private chamber, looking out at the stars. Beyond those stars lay his empire, the worlds he had conquered, the races he had subjugated. His reputation was built on military victory and the certainty that he would always win. But Earth had changed that calculation. The probe weapon had been destroyed instantly. The Earth Defense Network had responded with perfect accuracy and devastating power. This was not the defensive capability of a primitive world. This was the weapon system of an advanced civilization that had hidden its true strength. Kethax called for Commander Vex. Gather the War Council. We need to discuss our options. The officers assembled on the bridge within minutes. Kethax laid out the situation bluntly. We face a choice. We can continue the attack and hope that our superior numbers allow us to overcome their defensive grid. Or we can withdraw and preserve our fleet. Commander Vex spoke first. The humans have only demonstrated one weapon. We have 200 ships and multiple weapons platforms. Our military strength is still vastly superior. I recommend we attack. But Admiral Krex, the fleet's tactical officer, disagreed. The weapon they used was not their only defense. It is possible that they have other systems we have not detected. Additionally, a prolonged conflict would cost us many ships and many lives. The cost may outweigh the benefit of conquest. The debate went on for hours. Some commanders wanted to attack. Others counseled caution. Kethax listened to all of them, considering every argument. But in his heart, he already knew what he would do. A communication came from Earth. It was Commander James O'Brien again, but this time he was not speaking as a military leader issuing threats. He was speaking as a diplomat offering a solution. Lord Kethax, James said in the transmission, I understand you face a difficult decision. I do not ask you to trust us. I ask only that you consider the alternative to war. Earth proposes a treaty between our people, a pact of non-aggression. If you withdraw your fleet from this system, we will not attack you. We will not pursue you. We will not attempt to harm the Varos Collective. But if you remain, we will defend ourselves with all the power we possess. The choice is yours. The transmission ended. Kethax played it again. The human commander spoke with respect. He was not arrogant or boastful. He was honest about the situation. It was the speech of a military leader who understood the costs of war and preferred peace when possible. Jennifer Hayes followed with a scientific message. She explained some of the principles behind Earth's defense network. Not all of them, but enough to prove that humans had developed the technology themselves without outside help. It was not something they had acquired from another civilization. It was not stolen technology. It was the product of human genius and human determination. That message spread through the Varos fleet. Every officer heard it. Every soldier heard it. The story traveled through communication channels to other Varos territories, and from there to other civilizations across the galaxy. A primitive world had advanced weapons. A backwater planet had proven to be a genuine threat. Earth was no longer the easy conquest everyone had assumed. Senior leaders of the Varos Collective sent messages to Kethax demanding explanation. How could Earth possess such power? How had this been missed by the intelligence agencies? Why had no one reported this before? Kethax had no good answers. He could only tell the truth. Earth had hidden its technology. The planet had deceived the galaxy into believing it was defenseless. And now that the deception was revealed, the entire strategic situation had changed. He thought about the cost of continuing the attack. His fleet would likely win, but the victory would be expensive. Many ships would be destroyed. Many Varos soldiers would die. And for what? To conquer a world that had proven it could hurt you? To add Earth to the Empire, when the cost of occupation might be greater than the benefit? Kethax made his decision. He opened the communication channel back to Earth. He spoke directly, allowing his image and voice to be transmitted. Commander O'Brien, I am Lord Kethax of the Varos Collective. I have reviewed your proposal. I have considered the costs of continued conflict. I have consulted with my War Council and my superiors. Earth's offer of a non-aggression pact is acceptable. The Varos fleet will withdraw from this system. We will not attempt to invade, occupy, or harm Earth. In return, Earth will not attack the Varos Collective or interfere with our expansion in other regions of space. This agreement is binding. The message was transmitted to Earth. On the command center, James and Sarah heard the words and understood what they meant. The threat was over. The Armada would not attack. Earth would survive. Cathax ordered his fleet to change course. The massive warships began to turn away from Earth. The weapons platforms retracted. The support vessels repositioned. The entire armada of 200 ships shifted direction, breaking its approach vector and moving away from the solar system. Jennifer Hayes watched from her, stationed in the Tibetan facility, as the energy signatures of the Varos fleet began to move away from Earth space. She transmitted a single message to Commander O'Brien. "They are leaving." Prime Minister Foster was informed. World leaders received the news simultaneously. Celebrations began across Earth. People poured into the streets. Millions of humans, who had lived with fear and uncertainty for 2 weeks, were suddenly filled with hope and relief. But James O'Brien remained in the command center, watching the monitors. He watched the Varos fleet until it passed the outer boundary of the solar system. Only when they were completely clear of Earth space did he allow himself to sit down and breathe. Sarah approached him. "We won, Commander." "We actually won." James nodded slowly. "We did not win a battle, Sarah. We prevented a war. That is far more valuable." On his personal screen, James received another anonymous message. It was brief. "Well done, Commander. You passed the test. Earth is ready for what comes next." James stared at the message in confusion. But before he could investigate further, it deleted itself once again. Someone was watching. Someone knew more than they should. And James had a feeling that Earth's true challenges were just beginning. The Varos fleet disappeared into the darkness of space, their ships becoming points of light that eventually faded from Earth's detection systems. The immediate threat was gone. But the world that Earth had known before the threat had also disappeared. Within days, news of the conflict spread throughout the known galaxy. A small, supposedly primitive world had stopped an invasion force from the Varos Collective. They had done it with a hidden weapon system that no one had known about. Suddenly, every advanced civilization in the region wanted to understand Earth better. The first visitors arrived not as invaders, but as diplomats. Representatives from the Kellen Federation requested talks with Earth's leadership. The Xi'an Science Council sent scientists who wanted to study the Earth Defense Network. Even the Varos themselves sent a diplomatic delegation, interested now in what this mysterious world possessed. Commander James O'Brien found himself at the center of Earth's new role. He was promoted to Supreme Commander of Earth's Space Forces. His first task was to establish formal relations with the alien civilizations that now recognized Earth as an equal power, not an inferior world to be conquered. Prime Minister Foster appointed Jennifer Hayes as Earth's Minister of Science and Technology. She became the face of human intelligence and innovation across the galaxy. Scientists from multiple species wanted to meet her, to understand how humanity had developed such advanced technology in isolation. Sarah Rivera was given command of Earth's first deep space military vessel. It was not a weapon of war, but a symbol of humanity's new strength and capability. The ship was called the Unity, and its mission was to explore space and make peaceful contact with distant worlds. Sarah trained a crew of the best pilots and officers Earth had to offer. When the Unity launched, millions of humans watched as their first true starship left Earth's orbit. The United Nations transformed into something new. The United Earth Space Authority was established with representatives from every nation on the planet. Its purpose was to manage humanity's interactions with alien civilizations, to develop Earth's space capabilities, and to ensure that humanity moved forward as one unified species. but there remained the mystery of the anonymous messages. James received another message during his first formal meeting with the Varro's diplomatic delegation. It appeared on his personal device while he was sitting at the conference table. It read, "The test is not complete. There are others watching, others waiting. Humanity must prove itself worthy of the stars." James showed the message to no one. He deleted it and continued his conversation with the Varro's representatives. But in his mind, he understood that Earth's challenges were far from over. The galaxy was larger and more complex than they had imagined. There were forces and powers that had not yet revealed themselves. 3 months after the Varro's withdrawal, a smaller, faster ship arrived from a region of space that was not mapped on any human star chart. The ship was elegant and complex, a design that was unlike anything humans had ever built. It established orbit around Earth and sent a simple message: "We wish to make contact with your leaders." This time, the meeting took place at the United Nations headquarters, now transformed into the United Earth Space Authority Command Center. The alien delegation that came to the surface was surprising. They were humanoid but distinctly alien, with features that spoke of an evolutionary path different from humanity's. Their leader introduced himself as Scholar Timur. He spoke perfect English, as if he had been studying human language for a long time. He brought a gift, a data crystal containing centuries of scientific knowledge and star charts showing the true extent of the galactic community. "Earth," Timur said, "has been watched for a very long time. You were developing faster than anyone expected. When the Varro's moved against you, we were given permission to see how you would respond. You passed the test by defending yourself with honor and choosing peace when you had the power to destroy your enemies. This is rare among civilizations." James asked the question that had been haunting him. "Who has been watching us? Who sent the messages?" Timur smiled. "We have many names across the galaxy. Some call us the Watchers. Some call us the Ancient Ones. We are a civilization that has lived for hundreds of thousands of years. We have seen worlds rise and fall. We have guided some species and allowed others to develop naturally. Earth has been allowed to develop naturally because you had the greatest potential. Now, it is time for humanity to take its place among the stars as equals." Over the following weeks, the scope of humanity's true situation became clear. The galaxy was vast, home to thousands of civilizations at every level of development. Some were peaceful, some were warlike. All of them were now aware that Earth existed and that Earth was capable of defending itself. Jennifer Hayes worked with Timur and the Watchers to understand more about the defense network. She discovered that it had not been built by modern humans alone. The original network had been created by a Watcher delegation 70 years earlier, hidden from the world, waiting for the day when humanity would need it. They had believed in humanity's potential and invested in the species' survival. Sarah Rivera's ship, the Unity, became the flagship of humanity's new space navy. She led humanity's first expeditions to distant star systems. She made contact with friendly civilizations and learned their ways. She became an ambassador for Earth, showing the galaxy that humans were capable of both strength and compassion. James O'Brien spent his remaining years as Earth's military leader preparing humanity for its future. He trained new officers and soldiers to understand that space combat was different from ground warfare. He established protocols for peaceful contact with alien species. He ensured that humanity would face the future with courage and wisdom. Years later, when James retired from his position, he sat in his home on a hillside overlooking the Pacific Ocean. His wife sat beside him. They watched the sunset together, and in the sky above, they could see the lights of human starships moving through space. "Do you ever regret it?" his wife asked. "Activating the defense network? Changing everything?" James thought about the question. He thought about the Varro's fleet, about the warning that had changed the world, about the test that humanity had passed. "No," he said quietly. "I think we were always meant for the stars." The warning just reminded us that we were ready. Above Earth, the defense network still glowed softly, a beacon of human power and determination. The galaxy was no longer unknown. The future was no longer uncertain. Earth had taken its place among the stars, and humanity had discovered that it was not helpless or weak. Humans were capable of protecting themselves, of learning, of growing, and of reaching for the stars. The warning had been issued and dismissed. But in the end, the Varas learned what all who encountered humanity would eventually learn. Never underestimate a species that will defend its home. Never dismiss a warning from a world with nothing left to lose. Humanity had spoken. The galaxy had listened. And the age of Earth's isolation was finally, truly over.